Schönen guten Morgen, hören Sie mich? Funktioniert noch nicht.
Hallo?
Yes, and it's on. You can just
Guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Ich wollte ganz kurz ein paar
I just wanted to give you some quick remarks regarding the organization. If you need a headset for this meeting, which will be held in Spanish, English and German, and headsets are available over there in that corner. So please pick up your headset if you want one. And also for the journalists who didn't come in using that entrance, your press kits for this event and for the guest of honor here can be found on ground level on Zeros. So we'll kick it off in a minute. So much for that. We'll kick it off now.
Herzlich willkommen.
So welcome. Bienvenidos for our press conference on the guest of honor for the Frankfurt Book Fair 2022, Spain. Spain is here for the second time as guest of honor. The first time was 1991. And today we have the official opening.
Spanish guest of honor year will begin with this event. And Spain is very well represented at the Frankfurter Buchmesse 2020 with about 70 Spanish publishers being present and literature agents being represented in the fairs, and of course with a lot of authors. Das Organisationskomitee stellt den spanischen Ehrengastauftritt unter das Motto
used the slogan of Creatividad Desbordante, spilling creativity, sprühende Kreativität for our guest of honor. And we'll learn in a minute what minds and topics and ideas are behind that slogan. And now I'll hand over to Juergen Boos, the director of Frankfurter Buchmesse.
Danke, Katrin.
Thank you very much, Katrin.
Guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Ich halte mich ja hier an meinem Spickzettel fest und ich möchte
to my
gleich die
notes.
Reihenfolge der Begrüßung, die ich habe, werde ich gleich umwerfen.
Like to change
ist
the
wichtig,
order of welcoming
Autorinnen als
words.
erstes begrüßen,
I'd like to
die wir bei uns
welcome
haben, die auch
the
heute
authors
sprechen
first that are with us today, that will be speaking
Rosa
us.
Montero,
Welcome,
Elvira
Rosa
Lindo,
Montero, Elvira
Najat
Lindo,
Hachmi,
Najat Hachmi, Karmele,
Jaio,
Jaio,
Mario Obrero
Mario
und die
Obrero,
Journalistin
and our
Laura
journalist,
Barrachina.
Laura Barrachina.
Und jetzt zurück zum
Welcome,
Protokoll.
and now back
Willkommen,
to my notes.
Miquel Iceta
Welcome,
Llorens,
Miquel
der
Iceta
spanische
Llorens,
Minister
the
für Kultur und
Spanish
Sport.
Minister of Culture and
María
Sports.
José Gálvez,
Welcome, María
die
José Gálvez,
Generaldirektorin für
Director
Bücher und
General of
Lesen
Books
der
and
spanischen Regierung,
Promotion of Reading
und
of the Spanish
meine Freundin
government,
Elvira
and
Marco,
my dear friend
die
Elvira
Projektleiterin des
Marco,
Ehrenfestauftritts.
the project
Unter
director
uns ist
of
auch
the Guest
José
of
Alfredo
Honor
Torres,
event.
den Präsidenten von
We also have the
Acción
president of
Cultural
Acción
Española,
Cultural
den
Española with us,
unseres
the partner
Ehrengastauftritts,
of our
Patricia
Guest of Honor
Trixis, den
event,
Präsidenten
Matthias
des
Trixis,
spanischen
also the president of the
sowie
Spanish Publishers
Seine
Association,
Exzellenz
and also His
Ricardo
Excellenz
Martínez Vázquez, der spanische
Ricardo
Botschafter
Martínez Vázquez,
in
the Spanish ambassador in Berlin.
Sehr geehrter Herr Minister, Herr Minister, habe ich vor einigen Wochen kennengelernt.
Well,
Sein
I
erster offizieller Termin in dem
met
Amt
him
war
a
mit
couple of
uns,
weeks
war
ago,
mit
and
der
his first
Frankfurter
official
Buchmesse. Das
event
hat
in
mich sehr
his
gefreut.
office
Vielen
was with
Dank.
us, Frankfurter
Sehr
Buchmesse.
geehrter Herr
I was
Minister,
really happy
liebe
about that.
Freunde, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen.
Felt privileged.
Mit dem Motto,
Minister,
sprühende
dear colleagues, dear
Kreativität,
guests, spilling creativity,
Ich
that's
mag
the
eigentlich
motto,
den
that's the
spanischen
slogan.
Begriff
And I
lieber.
like
Das
the
klingt viel
Spanish term
kreativer.
better. It sounds so much more creative.
Creatividad
Creatividad Desbordante.
Kreativität. Mit diesem,
Great creativity,
Slogan
spilling creativity.
schreibt, Spanien eine Geschichte
That's
fort,
the slogan
die
that
begonnen hat mit dem ersten
Spain uses to
Gastlandauftritt
continue
auf der
a
Frankfurter
journey
Buchmesse
that
im
started
Jahr
with the first
1991.
guest
Damals
of honor
unter
of
dem Motto
Frankfurter
Laura
Buchmesse,
España,
Spain
die
in
Stunde
1991.
Spaniens.
Laura de España,
Ursprünglich wollten
the
wir genau
hour of
30
Spain
Jahre
was the motto
später
back then.
zum
Originally, we had
Jubiläum
planned
Spanien
for
als Ehrengast
30
wieder
years
in
later
Frankfurt
precisely.
begrüßen.
Another
Doch die
welcome to
Pandemie
Spain as guest of honor
hatte
at Frankfurter
andere
Buchmesse.
Pläne.
However, the
Kanada hat
pandemic
seinen
changed
40.
our plans.
Ehrengast auf
Canada
Jahr
actually
verschieben müssen.
postponed
Und damit waren
its
natürlich auch
guest
die
of honor
Präsenzen
event by
von
1
Spanien,
year physically,
Slowenien
so that meant
und
Spain,
Italien in
Slovenia, and
darauffolgenden
Italy
Jahren betroffen.
in the
Sie
consecutive
haben
years
sich
also had to
bedankenswerterweise
postpone their events.
allesamt auf die
But
Verschiebung
they then
eingelassen.
all agreed with getting postponed, and we'd like to say thank you. This is a big thank you to all those involved in the Spanish delegation. Thank you for extending so much solidarity to Canada, and thank you for being so much open to new approaches and channels. Ricardo Martinez Vasquez, I'd like to give you a special thank you, the head of the Spanish embassy in Berlin. You really made a big contribution to having no complications involved in finding an agreement between all the countries involved. Because of your support, a bridge of diplomacy between Europe and Canada was built. The spilling creativity of Spain will be seeing the spotlight of Frankfurter Buchmesse in 2022. We're looking forward to an extensive program reflecting the cultural diversity of Spain, the rich and long tradition, the vivacity and creativity in different languages spoken in Spain, different forms of expression as well. All of this will be very important for all of us. Spain did it. Spain used the preparation time for launching a translation promotion program with more than 300 titles. They have now already been translated into German. So next year, we'll be able to discover many new voices in the Spanish language. And the team also put together lots of other content that are not just going to be live during the week of the Frankfurter Buchmesse, but also online on the stream. When we prepared for this, we said Spain will be here already as a guest of honor this year. Not just 5 days of Spain at Frankfurt Book Fair next year, the diversity of the Spanish culture, art, music, film, books, exhibitions, all of this will be here all over Germany. It's going to be Berlin, it's going to be Leipzig, there's going to be lots of spotlights on Spain. It's going to be a very extensive guest of honor year for Spain and Germany. The Spanish-speaking publishing industry and also the regional associations from Catalonia, Valencia, the Basque Country and Galicia have certainly been a part of Frankfurt's Book Fair for many decades. Together with many other partners and institutions, they present the tradition of narration, of narratives in Spain. Interest in Spanish culture is certainly very big over here. And I changed my order of welcome before because it's so great to have authors with us. Again, I'm looking forward to Laura Barrachina, our journalist's discussion with Elvira Lindo, Elvira Marco, Karmele, Jaio, and others. Mario Obrero. We're also going to be a young poet tonight. Tonight, I also hope to meet many of you again at the reception at the Instituto de Cervantes, which was founded back in 1991 when Spain was the guest of honor before. One of my first meetings when I was director of Frankfurt Buchmesse was the opening of the Instituto de Cervantes here in Frankfurt. I met the Spanish royals back then, which was really important for me. I was really impressed, and it makes me look forward to this event. And the Spanish royals are also patrons of the Guest of Honor event. So I'm looking forward to 2022 very much. And now I'd like to hand over to the Spanish Minister of Culture and Sport, Miquel Iceta Llorens. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Queridos amigos, es para mí un placer presentar el año
Dear
de
friends,
España como próximo invitado de honor
for
en la
me,
Feria del
it's a
Libro
big
de Frankfurt 2022.
honor
El domingo
to
tomaremos el testigo de Canadá
welcome
en esta cita.
you and to take over as next guest of honor at Frankfurt Book Fair in 2022. We'll be taking over from Canada for this fair, the most important one for the international publishing sector, 31 years after our first participation in 1991. At that time, Spain was a very young democracy, but today, Spain is a modern country with a powerful literature and publishing sector, which we would certainly like to present to the world. And this is also precisely the reason why the slogan for the Spanish Frankfurt project is Spilling Creativity, in reference to the vitality of our cultural scene and its commitment to innovation, Spanish creativity goes beyond territories, borders, continents, cultures, languages, age, and gender to bring our literature to all corners of the world. Spain is a pluralistic and diverse country, both in the linguistic and in the cultural area. We are tremendously fortunate in being able to express ourselves in different languages: Spanish, Castellano, Galician, or Euskera, and other languages that are spoken back home, and that coexist in harmony and that are really enriching our lives very much. The numbers of the industry show that more than 20% of the 74,000 books that were published last year in Spain were written in Catalan, Galician, or the Basque language. And the role of Spain and the Spanish language as a bridge between Europe and Latin America is something I'd like to underline. 600 million people on this planet are united by a common language, the second most important language in the world ranking based on the number of speakers. Diversity is one of the pillars of this project. This diversity is the result of Spain's reality as a host country for authors from different parts of the world. Our publishing market, our environment is also open to other cultures, since translations from Spanish into other languages account for 21% of national production following publishers' statistics. As I was saying before, our creativity goes beyond borders and knows no borders, no barriers or idiomatic lines. And this brings me to mention the commitment of our Ministry of Culture and Sports for the promotion of translation. We want to spread the work of our authors across the whole world in order to reach every type of audience through different types of literary genres. And on top of that, we also want to acknowledge and appreciate the utterly important work done by our translators. At this point, I would like to celebrate that we can be here today in this edition of Frankfurt Book Fair that, as we just heard, is an invitation to reconnect after all these long months of the pandemic. I'd also like to mention a hope-inspiring aspect. Despite the enormous challenge for our industry because of the outbreak of the COVID crisis, it's also had a positive impact. We are now coming out of this crisis with more readers than ever before. Reading has helped us make it through the lockdowns. This is what the economic data are showing, and also the indices from 2020. That's figures from the industry. We had a growth of 0.8% in sales, and 2.439 billion euros was what we achieved. More than 74,500 new titles were published, and digital formats totaled 23,800, and that's an increase of 10.6%. On the other hand, while literature as a leisure time activity had never stopped growing over the past few years, and we had an increase of 12.3%, and during the lockdown we had a historic high. The percentage of time spent by frequent readers with books reached 57%, an average of 8 hours and 25 minutes per week. And that's certainly an important increase that has continued. We should also be giving tribute to all the efforts being made by the librarians again, and the book dealers. On the one hand, as cultural activists, beyond selling books, promoting discussions, book clubs, organizing cultural activities, and so on and so forth. And then on the other hand, also in the area of digitization, there's also a big contribution to the competitiveness and sustainability of the book sector. This is a commitment to innovation for reaching sustainability of the book sector and maintaining it. That's one of the key pillars of the project, Spain as guest of honor in Frankfurt's Book Fair in 2022. The future of the sector is promoting digital transformation from the public institutions in Spain, and with the help of European funding, do we want to pick up this challenge for increasing the structural soundness of the sector, making it useful and helpful also in the implementation of competitiveness of the processes for enhancing the management of the bookstores and fostering the habit of reading and spreading it into other formats, such as audiobooks. Finally, I would like to mention the important role of reading as a backing element of territories and social cohesion. In this effort, the network of public libraries and digital services stand out, which give citizens free and legal access to reading from their homes. The celebration of small literary festivals organized in rural Spain, or the Bibliobus, which travels to more than 2,000 towns and villages, are other examples of how literature, books and reading are central tools for facing demographic challenges. Now I can only encourage you to read our authors, to read them and submerge yourselves in spilling creativity. Books simply open doors and windows into other worlds, other realities, other lives. The more we read, the better people will we be. And time spent reading will never be time wasted. Thank you.
There is a place where all of us carry a spark inside, a hidden part of our souls yearning to escape, a flame longing to emerge on a street, in a museum, in a forest. We feel the need to release the fire inside us, and when we do, the creativity takes over. Our senses awaken. Settings burst into color. Places seem different through our eyes. Art is all around us. Ideas start to flow one after another. People breathe creativity. They make up their own stories. There is art in motion, inspiration on the go. There is Spanish culture and literature for everyone. Stories that whirl around us, that are passed on, full of life. There is a place that lives for rhythm. Chords, pages and words that speak of experiences, that put chapters from the past at people's fingertips and open the door to the future. Creativity that expands, spreads out, speeds up. Imagining, designing and drawing the world of which we write, think and dream with a spilling creativity. There is a place where we are all artists, born to create and inspire. Existe un lugar donde la imaginación da vida a miles de historias.
Vielen Dank. Und jetzt bitte ich María José Gálvez, now María José Gálvez, Director General for Books and Reading Promotion of the Spanish Ministry for Culture and Sport. And after her, we will hear from Elvira Marco, Executive Project Manager of the Spanish Guest of Honor team here in Frankfurt.
Guten Morgen, good morning, buenos días, bon dia, egunon bos dias. This is my pleasure to be here accompanying the Spanish Ministry of Culture, our authors, our publishing sector in this press conference, and to meet you, all the audience, again in this Frankfurt Book Fair. For the Spanish government, for all the cultural Spanish sector, being guest of honor is an extraordinary opportunity to support our book industry by building an international network for our publishers and agents. This fair is also a remarkable window that allows us to promote our authors and literature. This book fair and its objectives are always important, but after the pandemics, it is even more. The Spanish book sector and its exemplary behavior for the citizenship during the corona deserves this guest of honor opportunity at the Frankfurt Book Fair next year, and we, as government, are being by its side. We aim to show how the Spanish publishing industry and literature are. Our book industry is strong. Es la primera industria cultural en España y las publicaciones en el 2020 llegaron a 75.000 títulos. Our book industry is competitive. Más de 1.640 editoriales, creando 13.000 empleos directos y más de 100.000 empleos indirectos. Our book industry is multilingual. Alrededor del 20% de los libros provienen de traducciones y casi el 25% de los libros que se producen lo hacen en lenguas oficiales en España distintas del castellano. Our book industry has an international vocation. Los principales mercados para la industria editorial española son Europa y América Latina, y estamos trabajando de la mano con el sector en una estrategia internacional, donde la Feria del Libro de Frankfurt es uno de los principales pilares. Our book industry is bibliodiverse. El tamaño de las editoriales, los géneros en los que se escriben los libros, las miradas plurales con las que se escriben nuestros libros. Todo es plural en la industria creativa y editorial de España. The Spanish publishing sector also has two challenges for the immediate future: digitalization and sustainability. The Spanish Ministry of Culture is already working with publishers, bookstores, logistics, writers, illustrators, translators, in order to identify priorities and start to work with the European Economic Recovery Package. In this ecosystem of the book sector, the very beginning is creation. This is why we chose the anthem Spilling Creativity, Creatividad Desbordante, as the Spanish Ministry of Culture has explained before. The idea represented in Spilling Creativity describes the exciting moment of our literary and cultural scene, the splashes of color that exceed the limits of the S of Spanian represents our creativity and innovation, traveling beyond borders, across continents, into other languages and for all audiences. The Spanish Guest of Honor Literature Program let us show the enormous talent and originality of our writers, of our poets, of our storytellers, of our illustrators, of our translators. Nothing better than their stories to show how we are as a country and how our culture is. El que no inventa, no vive, decía Ana María Matute. It is important to be said that this Guest of Honor project includes all the public institutions and the private sector related with books. Since 2019, the project has presented authors and literature panels at the Frankfurt Book Fair and in our network of Cervantes Institute, Spanish Cultural Centers, as Acción Cultural Española, and festivals together with libraries and bookstores. Como dijo Antonio Machado, se hace camino al andar, y nosotros hemos empezado ese camino. But nothing of this previous statement has any sense without the readers. The last Spanish Reading Panoramic showed that in Spain we are reading more each year, and during the pandemic, reading has been a shelter for most of us. We must to hold these readers, and this is why we are here. Quisiera terminar con algo que dijo Federico García Lorca, que creo que finaliza muy bien esta press conference. Libros, libros. He aquí una palabra mágica que equivale a decir amor, amor. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Guten Morgen, buenos días, good morning. As readers, we are always curious to discover stories that help us understand better our own lives. And with Spain's Guest of Honor project for 2022, we would like to share the way Spanish authors think and dream about the world. At this press conference, you will listen to a group of talented writers, different voices from Spain's literary scene, as well as to a young poet, just 17 years old, although it may seem difficult to believe when you listen to him. For this edition of the Buchmesse, we are presenting 70 authors and professionals from the book industry in digital format, a program released at this fair, but to be enjoyed all year round. Next year, we look forward to bringing a delegation of 100 writers, storytellers, poets, illustrators, translators, and book professionals in a hybrid physical and digital experience. On our way to Frankfurt 2022, we have had to deal with the unexpected. But we have learned that opportunities arise in difficult times. We have invested in translation support and professional meetings, working together with the Spanish publishers and the book sector. We have learned to work, create, and grow in digital format, reaching out to new audiences. In this period, more than 300 titles have been translated into German, and we plan to have 100 more for 2022. Funds for translation have grown by 30% since 2019, with an investment of €2 million, encompassing support for all of Spain's official languages. Of course, it would not have been possible without the collaboration of German and European publishers with whom we wish to continue working in the future. Spain's Guest of Honor literary program will bring both translated authors to Germany to meet their readers, as well as new Spanish voices, which we believe shall connect with the German audience, to festivals, libraries, bookshops, and to our network of Cervantes institutes, especially to Frankfurt, working together with our embassy and our trade and tourist offices. And of course, it will be the main focus of our Guest of Honor pavilion next year, 2,000 square meters to fill with our creativity. But being Guest of Honor is an incredible opportunity to share not only our stories, but our culture. Spain will present an extensive cultural program in Frankfurt and other German cities in 2022. Our goal? To build long-term links between Spanish and German institutions and to show our cultural diversity, working with cultural organizations from both countries and with Spain's territories. Some highlights of our program. In theater, dance and music, we will be at Film Festival in Berlin, in Museumturm or Schauspiel in Frankfurt, and at the Munich Kammerspiele, working in close collaboration with the National Institute for the Performing Arts and Music of Spain. In cinema, we will take part at Books at Berlinale, as book adaptations have become a prominent part of films and TV series. And with the Frankfurt Film Museum, we will bring together writers and directors screening book adaptations, as well as showcasing the work of historical figures such as Berlanga and Saura. The exhibition, the Prado Museum in the Streets, will bring to Frankfurt and Berlin reproductions of the masterpieces of this museum. And our most contemporary artists will be shown at different museums and galleries, such as the Frankfurter Kunstverein here in Frankfurt. These two programs will show Spain's literary and cultural scene, spilling our creativity to Germany and to the world. As each reader experiences a book differently, in the next edition of the Buchmesse, we want German readers to find the book of their dreams among our titles, because we all know that a well-told story is always universal. And as our beloved Carmen Martín Gaite said, mientras dure la vida, que no pare el cuento. See you in Frankfurt in 2022. Nos vemos en Frankfurt en 2022.
Ja, vielen Dank, Herr Minister. Vielen Dank, María José Gálvez.
Thank you very much, Minister María José Gálvez, Elvira Marco, and Juergen Boos.
Und nun bitte ich die Journalistin
Thank you so much. And now, Laura Barrachina, can I ask you to join me on stage? She's a journalist and she's going to host Rosa Montero, Elvira Lindo, Najat Hachmi, and Karmele Jaio for a discussion.